First contact. The night sky over the Atacama Desert in Chile erupted with an otherworldly glow. At the ALNA Observatory, astronomer Dr. Elena Rees jolted awake her console, her eyes wide as she stared at the readings flooding her screen. The radio telescopes had picked up an anomalous signal, unlike anything she'd seen in her 15 years of searching the stars. Holy shit, she breathed, fingers flying over the keyboard as she worked to isolate and amplify the transmission. The signal pulsed with an unmistakable pattern, prime numbers repeating in sequence. This was no natural phenomenon. This was a message. Elena's heart raced as she initiated the first contact protocols. Years of training kicked in, but nothing could have truly prepared her for this moment. Humanity was no longer alone in the universe. As word spread through the scientific community, the world held its breath. Governments convened emergency sessions, religious leaders offered prayers and prophecies, and billions of people turned their eyes to the heavens, wondering what changes this cosmic hello might bring. But the alien visitors didn't wait for an official response. 3 days after the initial signal, reports flooded in from a remote area of the Pacific Northwest. Campers and hikers described a brilliant flash of light streaking across the sky, followed by a thunderous impact that shook the forest. By the time authorities arrived on the scene, they found a smoking crater and twisted fragments of an unknown metal alloy scattered through the trees. The craft, if that's what it had been, was small, no larger than a compact car. Whatever beings had piloted it were long gone, leaving behind only tantalizing clues about their nature and origins. Elena, having been part of the team analyzing the signal, was among the first scientists called to the crash site. As she picked her way through the debris field, her mind raced with possibilities. Had the aliens intended to land, or was this a malfunction? Were they peaceful explorers or something more sinister? And most pressingly, where were they now? A faint groan from a nearby thicket of ferns stopped her in her tracks. Elena held her breath, straining to listen. There it was again, a sound of pain, decidedly non-human in origin. Heart pounding, she pushed aside the ferns to reveal a crumpled form. Its body was vaguely humanoid, but covered in iridescent scales that shimmered with each labored breath. 2 sets of arms ended in delicate, multi-jointed fingers. A large, bulbous head housed 3 eyes, 2 shut tight in apparent agony, the third fixed on Elena with an unsettling intelligence. "Oh my God," Elena whispered, instinctively reaching out to the injured creature. It flinched away, a series of clicks and whistles emanating from what she assumed was its mouth. The universal translator clipped to her belt sprung to life, attempting to decipher the alien language. "Danger. Help. Please." The words were halting, but their meaning clear. This being needed medical attention and fast. Elena glanced around, weighing her options. The government team was still combing the main crash site. It would be hours before they made it this far into the surrounding forest. By then, it might be too late. Making a split-second decision that would change the course of human history, Elena gently scooped up the alien. "It's okay," she murmured, hoping her tone would convey comfort even if the words weren't understood. "I've got you. You're safe now." As she carried the surprisingly light being back to her research vehicle, Elena's mind raced. She was breaking about a dozen international protocols, not to mention potentially exposing herself to unknown extraterrestrial pathogens. But looking down at the injured alien nestled in her arms, she knew she couldn't have done anything else. Once safely hidden in her mobile lab, Elena set about assessing her unexpected patient. The alien's breathing had steadied somewhat, but strange fluids still oozed from several gashes across its torso. She hesitated, unsure how to proceed without knowing anything about the creature's biology. As if sensing her dilemma, the alien's third eye opened fully. A beam of soft blue light emanated from it, coalescing into a 3-dimensional holographic display. Elena gasped as anatomical diagrams hovering in the air before her, complete with labels in an unknown script that the translator struggled to parse. Remarkable, she breathed, reaching out to manipulate the hologram. The alien made a sound that might have been a chuckle, before wincing in pain. Thank you, the translator rendered haltingly. I am Zix. Mission, study humans. Elena's eyebrows shot up. Study humans. You came all this way to research us. Zix's eye light flickered, the hologram shifting to show images of Earth from space, zeroing in on human populations. Fascinating. Species. So much variation. Want to understand. As Elena worked to patch up Zix's injuries using the holographic guide, her scientific curiosity warred with her sense of duty. She should be contacting her superiors, turning Zix over to the proper authorities. But the opportunity to be the first human to truly communicate with an alien being was too tantalizing to pass up. What exactly did you want to study about humans? She asked, applying a sealant to one of the deeper gashes. The hologram shifted again, this time displaying human reproductive organs and what appeared to be recordings of people engaged in various intimate acts. Elena felt her cheeks flush. Oh, you're here to study our mating habits. Zix made a trilling sound that the translator rendered as affirmation. Reproduction, key to species. Humans, unusual. Pair bonding, pleasure, complex social structures. Not like others we've studied. Elena's mind reeled at the implications. Not only was Earth not the aliens' first contact, but they'd been observing humanity long enough to take an interest in our sexual practices. It was simultaneously thrilling and unnerving. Well, she said, clearing her throat, I suppose I can see why that would be intriguing from an outside perspective. Our approach to reproduction is tied up in a lot of cultural and emotional factors. Zix's eyelight pulsed with what Elena interpreted as excitement. Yes, emotions. Difficult concept. Want to understand better. You, help me. Elena hesitated. On one hand, the scientific and diplomatic potential of this encounter was staggering. On the other, she'd be going far beyond her authority, possibly endangering herself and others in the process. But looking at Zix's eager, alien face, she found she couldn't say no. This being had traveled across the stars, nearly dying in the process, all to learn about humanity. What kind of representative of Earth would she be if she turned away now? "Oh, right," she said with a small smile. "I'll help you learn about humans. But we'll have to keep this our secret, at least for now. I don't think the world is quite ready to know about you yet." Zix's eyelight shimmered with what might have been gratitude. Understood, secrecy important. We'll follow your lead. As Elena finished treating Zix's injuries, her mind raced with the possibilities ahead. She was about to embark on the most important anthropological study in human history, with humanity as a subject. And in the process, she might just revolutionize our understanding of life in the universe. "Okay," she said, helping Zix to a more comfortable sitting position. "Let's start at the beginning. Tell me about your species and I'll tell you about mine." As the unlikely pair settled in for their first cultural exchange, neither could have predicted the profound ways their lives, and the fate of both their worlds, were about to change. Uncharted territory. As dawn broke over the Pacific Northwest, Elena's mobile research lab hummed with activity. She had spent the night alternating between tending to Zix's injuries and furiously documenting every detail of their encounter. The aliens' regenerative abilities were remarkable. Already, the worst of the gashes had sealed into faint, iridescent scars. "All right, Zix," Elena said, stifling a yawn. "We need to move you somewhere more secure. My facility isn't far, but we'll have to be careful." Zix's eyelight pulsed with understanding. Stealth mode activated, the translator rendered, as the alien's form shimmered and seemed to bend the light around it. Within seconds, Zix had taken on the appearance of a nondescript human male. Elena blinked in astonishment. "That's incredibly handy. How does it work?" "Photonic manipulation," Zix explained, voice now sounding startlingly human. "We studied your media broadcasts to create this form. Is it acceptable?" "It's perfect," Elena assured them, marveling at the alien's adaptability. though we'll need to work on your conversation skills if we're going to pass you off as human for long. As they made their way to Elena's research facility, a private institute funded by an eccentric billionaire with a passion for fringe science, Zix peppered her with questions about human biology, social structures, and mating habits. So, humans engage in sexual activity even when reproduction is not the goal? Zix asked, fascination evident in their voice. Elena felt her cheeks warm. Yes, that's right. For humans, sex serves multiple purposes: pair bonding, pleasure, stress relief. It's a complex aspect of our psychology and culture. Zix's disguised form furrowed its brow in a passable imitation of human confusion. Fascinating. In our species, mating is purely functional. The concept of pleasure in this context is alien to us. As they arrived at the facility, Elena couldn't help but chuckle at the unintentional pun. Well, Zix, you're in for quite an education. Over the next few days, Elena ran a battery of tests on Zix, marveling at the aliens' unique biology. In return, Zix shared insights about their own species and the galactic community they came from. It was a scientific gold mine, and Elena found herself working around the clock to document everything. But as the days wore on, she noticed Zix becoming more withdrawn, their questions about human behavior growing more pointed and personal. Elena, Zix said one evening as they pored over data together, I do not understand. Your species places such emphasis on mating and pair bonding, yet you do not engage in these behaviors yourself. Are you defective? Elena nearly choked on her coffee. What? No, I'm not defective. I've just been focused on my work. Relationships aren't always easy for humans, especially when you're dedicated to your career. Zix's eyelight pulsed with what Elena had come to recognize as deep thought. But does this not conflict with your biological imperatives, your need for companionship and physical intimacy? Elena sighed, realizing she'd have to open up if she wanted Zix to truly understand. Sometimes, yes, it can be lonely, but humans are complex. We don't always act on our desires or needs, especially when there are other factors at play. What factors prevent you from seeking a mate? Zix pressed, leaning in with unmistakable curiosity. Helena found herself unusually flustered under the alien's intense gaze. Well, finding the right person isn't easy. There needs to be mutual attraction, compatible personalities, shared goals. And in my case, it's hard to find someone who understands my dedication to my work, who would accept that sometimes the pursuit of knowledge comes first. Zix was quiet for a long moment, processing this information. Then, to Elena's surprise, they reached out and took her hand in a startlingly human gesture of comfort. I understand dedication to a mission, Zix said softly. Perhaps we're not so different, you and I. Elena felt a strange flutter in her chest at the touch and quickly pulled her hand away. Maybe not, she said with a nervous laugh. But let's focus on the data, shall we? As they returned to their work, Elena couldn't shake the feeling that something had shifted between them. She'd come into this expecting to be an impartial observer, a translator of human behavior for an alien intelligence. But now she found herself becoming the subject of her own study. The lines between researcher and research subject were blurring, and Elena wasn't sure how to feel about it. One thing was certain: this mission had become far more complicated than she'd ever anticipated. As the days turned into weeks, Elena and Zix fell into a routine of sorts. By day, they conducted experiments and pored over data, Elena teaching Zix about human biology and social structures while learning about alien physiology and galactic politics in return. By night, they engaged in long conversations about the nature of existence, the similarities and differences between their species, and the vast possibilities of the universe. Elena found herself opening up to Zix in ways she never had with another human. There was something freeing about talking to someone so completely outside her own experience, someone who approached every aspect of humanity with fresh eyes and genuine curiosity. One evening, as they shared a meal, Elena eating Chinese takeout while Zix absorbed nutrients through their skin. Zix broached a subject that had clearly been on their mind. "Elena," they began, their human disguise furrowing its brow in an endearingly accurate display of nervousness. "I believe I have observed something about human mating rituals that I do not fully comprehend." Elena braced herself, wondering what aspect of human sexuality had confused the alien this time. "Go on," she said, trying to keep her tone neutral and scientific. "In many of the videos and literature we have studied, humans engage in a preparatory phase before mating. They share meals, engage in recreational activities, exchange gifts. This seems inefficient, yet it appears to be a crucial part of the process. Can you explain the purpose of these dates?" Elena couldn't help but smile. Of all the complex aspects of human relationships, dating was what puzzled Zix the most. "Well," she began, choosing her words carefully, "dating serves several purposes. It's a way for potential mates to get to know each other, to see if they're compatible. It's also a form of courtship, a way to show interest and build attraction." Zix's eyelight pulsed rapidly, a sign Elena had come to associate with intense curiosity. "But how does sharing a meal or watching a film demonstrate reproductive fitness? Would it not be more efficient to simply display one's physical attributes and genetic viability?" Elena laughed, nearly choking on her low mane. "Oh, Zix, human attraction is about so much more than just physical traits. Personality, sense of humor, shared interests, these all play a role in who we choose as partners." "Fascinating," Zix murmured. They were quiet for a moment, seemingly lost in thought. Then, to Elena's utter shock, they asked, "Elena, would you go on a date with me?" Elena's chopsticks clattered to the table. "I? What?" "For research purposes, of course," Zix quickly added. "I believe I would gain a much deeper understanding of human courtship rituals if I could experience them firsthand. And you are the human I trust most. Would this not be a valuable addition to our study?" Elena's mind raced. On one hand, the scientist in her could see the logic in Zix's request. What better way for the alien to understand human dating than to experience it? But on the other hand, the very idea of going on a date with Zix sent a thrill through her that was decidedly unscientific. I suppose that could be informative," she said finally, her voice higher than usual. "But Zix, you have to understand, dating, even for research, can involve complex emotions. Are you sure you're prepared for that?" Zix's eyelight pulsed with what Elena had come to recognize as determination. "I'm an explorer, Elena. Emotions are simply another frontier to be studied. I'm prepared for whatever this experience may bring." As Elena nodded her agreement, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was stepping into uncharted territory. This was no longer just about teaching an alien about human reproduction. They were about to embark on an experiment that could change everything, for both of them. "All right," she said, her heart racing with a mixture of scientific excitement and something else she couldn't quite name. "Let's do it. Let's go on a date. Cosmic chemistry." The small Italian restaurant buzzed with the gentle hum of conversation and clinking cutlery. Elena sat across from Zix, still marveling at how seamlessly the alien blended in with their human disguise. To any casual observer, they appeared to be nothing more than an attractive couple enjoying a romantic dinner. "Remember," Elena whispered, leaning in conspiratorially, "the goal is to act natural. Humans on dates usually engage in light conversation, ask questions about each other's lives, and show interest in their partner's responses." Zix nodded, their eyelight pulsing beneath the holographic camouflage. "Understood. I shall endeavor to act natural and express interest in your human activities." They cleared their throat and, in a slightly too loud voice, asked, "So, Elena, how was your day of respiration and nutrient consumption?" Elena stifled a laugh, drawing curious glances from nearby diners. "Maybe dial it back a notch, Zix. Try something more specific. Ask about my work, for instance." "Thank you," the translator rendered haltingly. "I am Zix. Mission, study humans." Elena's eyebrows shot up. Study humans? You came all this way to research us? Zix's eyelight flickered, the hologram shifting to show images of Earth from space, zeroing in on human populations. Fascinating. Species. So much variation. Want to understand. As Elena worked to patch up Zix's injuries using the holographic guide, her scientific curiosity warred with her sense of duty. She should be contacting her superiors, turning Zix over to the proper authorities. But the opportunity to be the first human to truly communicate with an alien being was too tantalizing to pass up. "What exactly did you want to study about humans?" she asked, applying a sealant to one of the deeper gashes. The hologram shifted again, this time displaying human reproductive organs and what appeared to be recordings of people engaged in various intimate acts. Elena felt her cheeks flush. "Oh, you're here to study our mating habits." Zix made a trilling sound that the translator rendered as affirmation. "Reproduction, key to species. Humans, unusual. Pair bonding, pleasure, complex social structures, not like others we've studied." Elena's mind reeled at the implications. Not only was Earth not the aliens' first contact, but they'd been observing humanity long enough to take an interest in our sexual practices. It was simultaneously thrilling and unnerving. "Well," she said, clearing her throat, "I suppose I can see why that would be intriguing from an outside perspective. Our approach to reproduction is tied up in a lot of cultural and emotional factors." Zix's eyelight pulsed with what Elena interpreted as excitement. "Yes, emotions. Difficult concept. Want to understand better. You, help me." Elena hesitated. On one hand, the scientific and diplomatic potential of this encounter was staggering. On the other, she'd be going far beyond her authority, possibly endangering herself and others in the process. But looking at Zix's eager, alien face, she found she couldn't say no. This being had traveled across the stars, nearly dying in the process, all to learn about humanity. What kind of representative of Earth would she be if she turned away now? "All right," she said with a small smile. "I'll help you learn about humans. But we'll have to keep this our secret, at least for now. I don't think the world is quite ready to know about you yet." Zix's eyelight shimmered with what might have been gratitude. "Understood. Secrecy important. We'll follow your lead." As Elena finished treating Zix's injuries, her mind raced with the possibilities ahead. She was about to embark on the most important anthropological study in human history, with humanity as the subject, and in the process, she might just revolutionize our understanding of life in the universe. "Okay," she said, helping Zix to a more comfortable sitting position. "Let's start at the beginning. Tell me about your species and I'll tell you about mine." As the unlikely pair settled in for their first cultural exchange, neither could have predicted the profound ways their lives, and the fate of both their worlds, were about to change. Uncharted territory. As dawn broke over the Pacific Northwest, Elena's mobile research lab hummed with activity. She had spent the night alternating between tending to Zix's injuries and furiously documenting every detail of their encounter. The aliens' regenerative abilities were remarkable. Already, the worst of the gashes had sealed into faint, iridescent scars. "All right, Zix," Elena said, stifling a yawn. "We need to move you somewhere more secure. My facility isn't far, but we'll have to be careful." Zix's eyelight pulsed with understanding. Stealth mode activated, the translator rendered, as the alien's form shimmered and seemed to bend the light around it. Within seconds, Zix had taken on the appearance of a nondescript human male. Elena blinked in astonishment. "That's incredibly handy. How does it work?" "Photonic manipulation," Zix explained, voice now sounding startlingly human. "We studied your media broadcasts to create this form. Is it acceptable?" "It's perfect," Elena assured them, marveling at the alien's adaptability. "Though we'll need to work on your conversation skills if we're going to pass you off as human for long." As they made their way to Elena's research facility, a private institute funded by an eccentric billionaire with a passion for fringe science, Zix peppered her with questions about human biology, social structures, and mating habits. So, humans engage in sexual activity even when reproduction is not the goal? Zix asked, fascination evident in their voice. Elena felt her cheeks warm. Yes, that's right. For humans, sex serves multiple purposes: pair bonding, pleasure, stress relief. It's a complex aspect of our psychology and culture. Ah, yes. Elena, please regale me with tales of your scientific pursuits. Have you made any groundbreaking discoveries about extraterrestrial life forms recently? Elena nearly choked on her wine. Zix, she hissed, glancing around nervously. Remember, we're trying to blend in. Maybe ask about my hobbies instead. As the evening progressed, Zix's attempts at human conversation improved marginally. They discussed Elena's passion for astrophotography, her childhood dreams of space exploration, and her favorite Earth cuisines. In return, Zix shared fascinating, if heavily censored, stories about their home world and the wonders they'd encountered on their intergalactic travels. Elena found herself genuinely enjoying the date, almost forgetting its experimental nature. There was something undeniably charming about Zix's earnest attempts to understand human behavior, and their unique perspective on life never failed to intrigue her. As they shared a tiramisu for dessert, Zix politely declining but fascinated by the concept, Elena realized she was seeing her alien companion in a new light. The way the candlelight played off their holographic features, the genuine warmth in their fabricated eyes as they listened to her speak, it stirred something unexpected within her. Elena, Zix said softly, reaching across the table to take her hand. I believe I am beginning to understand the appeal of these human courtship rituals. The sharing of personal information, the intimate setting, the physical proximity, it creates a most intriguing sensation. Elena felt her pulse quicken at the touch. Oh, she managed, her scientific detachment slipping. And what sensation is that? Zix's eyelight pulsed rapidly, a sign Elena had come to associate with heightened emotion. I find myself experiencing an increased heart rate, elevated body temperature, and a strong desire to be physically closer to you. Are these the symptoms of attraction that humans often describe? Elena swallowed hard, acutely aware that she was experiencing those very same symptoms. Yes, she said softly. That's exactly what attraction feels like. For a moment, they sat in charged silence, the implications of this development hanging heavy in the air between them. Then, as if drawn by some cosmic force, they began to lean towards each other across the table. Just as their faces were mere inches apart, a commotion from the kitchen shattered the moment. The head chef burst from the swinging doors, shouting angrily in rapid-fire Italian at a beleaguered waiter who had apparently mixed up several orders. Elena and Zix jerked apart, the spell broken. As they watched the chaotic scene unfold, they couldn't help but burst into laughter. Elena's musical and genuine, Zix's a curious trilling sound filtered through their human disguise. Well, Elena said, wiping tears of mirth from her eyes, I'd say that's a pretty authentic human dating experience. Moments of connection interrupted by the unpredictability of life. Zix nodded, their eyelight pulsing with what Elena now recognized as amusement. Indeed, your species continues to fascinate me, Elena. Just when I think I understand, you reveal new layers of complexity. As they left the restaurant, walking close together in the cool night air, Elena found herself grappling with conflicting emotions. On one hand, her scientific mind was thrilled at the wealth of data this experiment was producing. On the other, the very human part of her that had been awakened by this unusual courtship longed to explore these newfound feelings further. Zix, she said, stopping beneath a streetlight that bathed them in a soft glow. I think it's important that we discuss what happened in there. The attraction we both felt, it complicates things. Zix tilted their head, a curiously alien gesture despite their human appearance. Complicates? I do not understand. Is this not a natural progression of the human mating process? Elena sighed, running a hand through her hair. Yes and no. Attraction is natural, but this situation is anything but. You're here to study humans, not fall for one. And I'm supposed to be an objective researcher, not developing feelings for my alien subject. Feelings, Zix repeated, as if tasting the word. Elena, in my travels across the galaxy, I have encountered many forms of life, many types of relationships, but never have I experienced anything quite like this. Is it not worth exploring further, even if it defies our original parameters? As Elena looked into Zix's eyes, holographic projections hiding the triocular alien gaze beneath, she felt herself teetering on the edge of a decision that could change everything. The rational part of her knew she should step back, maintain professional boundaries, protect both of them from the potential fallout of an impossible relationship. But another part of her, the part that had always dreamed of cosmic adventures and connections that transcended the boundaries of worlds, urged her to take the leap. Before she could second-guess herself, Elena closed the distance between them, pressing her lips to Zix in a kiss that sent shockwaves through both their beings. For a moment, Zix froze, clearly unprepared for this most human of gestures. Then, with a shimmer of energy, their holographic disguise fell away, revealing their true alien form. Elena gasped, breaking the kiss, but didn't pull away. She reached up, gently tracing the iridescent scales of Zix's face with wonder in her eyes. "Is this okay?" she whispered. Zix's eyelight pulsed with an intensity Elena had never seen before. "More than okay," they replied, their true voice a melodious trill that sent shivers down her spine. "I believe I now understand why humans place such importance on physical intimacy. It is transcendent." As they stood there, an alien and a human locked in an embrace that defied the very laws of probability, neither of them noticed the sleek black van that had pulled up at the end of the street, nor did they see the shadowy figures emerging, speaking urgently into concealed communicators. Their cosmic romance was about to face its greatest challenge yet, as the forces of Earth's governments finally caught up to the extraterrestrial visitor in their midst. The next phase of their adventure was about to begin, and it would test the limits of their newfound connection in ways neither of them could have imagined. Galactic fugitives. The tranquil night shattered as floodlights suddenly illuminated Elena and Zix, that intimate moment brutally interrupted. Shouts filled the air as black-clad figures swarmed towards them, weapons raised. "Dr. Reeves, step away from the extraterrestrial entity immediately," a voice boomed through a megaphone. Elena's mind raced, adrenaline surging through her veins. In that split second, she made a decision that would alter the course of her life forever. Grabbing Zix's hand, she yelled, "Run!" They bolted down a narrow alley, Elena's heart pounding as she heard the thundering footsteps of their pursuers. Zix, demonstrating inhuman agility, effortlessly kept pace. "Elena," Zix's melodic voice trilled with concern, "I do not wish to bring you harm. Perhaps it would be wise to." "No way," Elena panted, pulling them around a sharp corner. "I'm not letting them take you. We're in this together now." As they emerged onto a busy street, Elena spotted a sleek, self-driving taxi idling nearby. Thanking her lucky stars, she yanked open the door, practically shoving Zix inside before diving in herself. "Emergency protocol override," she gasped, inputting a code she'd never thought she'd use. "Destination, Olympus Base." The taxi's air chirped an acknowledgement, its electric engine humming to life as it smoothly pulled away from the curb, quickly accelerating to merge with the aerial traffic lanes above the city. Elena slumped back in her seat, her mind whirling. Olympus Base was her backup plan, a secret research facility hidden in the mountains, funded by the same eccentric billionaire who supported her main lab. She'd never thought she'd actually need to use it. "Zix," she said, turning to her alien companion, "I'm so sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen." Zix's eyelight pulsed with an emotion Elena couldn't quite decipher. "Do not apologize, Elena. You have shown great courage and loyalty. These are traits highly valued among my people." They paused, their next words carrying a weight that made Elena's breath catch. I find myself experiencing what I believe humans call gratitude, and perhaps something more. Before Elena could respond, the taxi's comm system crackled to life. Dr. Reeves, a stern voice intoned, "This is Director Hawthorne of the Global Extraterrestrial Intelligence Agency. You are harboring a potentially dangerous alien life form. Return to GEIA headquarters immediately or face severe consequences." Elena's mind raced. She'd suspected the government had been monitoring her work, but she'd never imagined they'd move against her so swiftly and decisively. "Director," she replied, trying to keep her voice steady, "with all due respect, you're making a huge mistake. Zix is here peacefully. This could be our chance for real, meaningful contact with an advanced civilization. Your personal feelings have compromised your judgment, Dr." Hawthorne shot back. "We've seen the surveillance footage. Your meaningful contact looks an awful lot like fraternization with an unknown entity. Stand down now, or we'll be forced to take more drastic measures." The comm went silent, leaving Elena and Zix in a tense quiet broken only by the soft hum of the taxi's engine. "Elena," Zix said softly, that alien features etched with concern, "perhaps it would be best if I turned myself in. I do not wish to see you punished for aiding me." Elena shook her head vehemently. "No way. They'd lock you up, experiment on you. I can't let that happen." She took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. "We're going to Olympus Base. It's completely off the grid. We can regroup there, figure out our next move." As the taxi soared over the darkened landscape, city lights giving way to rugged wilderness, Elena found herself facing the biggest ethical dilemma of her career. She dedicated her life to the pursuit of scientific truth, to expanding humanity's understanding of the cosmos. Now, she was actively hiding evidence of alien life from her own government. But looking at Zix, seeing the trust and something deeper shining in their alien eyes, she knew she'd made the right choice. This wasn't just about scientific discovery anymore. It was about protecting a being she'd come to care for deeply, about safeguarding the possibility of peaceful contact between their species. The taxi began its descent as they approached a sheer mountain face. A hidden hangar door slid open, revealing a high-tech facility nestled within the rock. As they touched down, Elena turned to Zix, taking their strange, beautiful hands in hers. "I don't know exactly what's going to happen next," she said, her voice filled with determination, "but I promise you this, we're going to face it together." Zix's eyelight pulsed with an intensity that made Elena's heart skip. Together, they echoed, the word filled with a universe of meaning. As they stepped out of the taxi and into the unknown, Elena realized that their adventure was far from over. In fact, it was only just beginning. They were no longer just a scientist and her alien subject. They were partners, fugitives, and perhaps something even more extraordinary. The doors of Olympus Base sealed behind them, cutting them off from the world they knew. Ahead lay challenges they could scarcely imagine, but also the promise of a connection that transcended the boundaries of worlds. Whatever came next, Elena and Zix would face it united, their unlikely bond forged in the fires of adversity and strengthened by a love that defied the very laws of nature. As they ventured deeper into the facility, both human and alien alike felt a sense of anticipation building. They stood on the precipice of a new chapter, not just in their own lives, but potentially in the history of both their species. The journey ahead would be fraught with danger, discovery, and decisions that would shape the future of interstellar relations. But for now, in this moment, as they looked at each other with a mix of fear, excitement, and undeniable affection, one thing was certain: their cosmic chemistry had set in motion a chain of events that would resonate across the galaxy for eons to come. Cosmic convergence. The cavernous interior of Olympus Base hummed with cutting-edge technology, a stark contrast to the rugged mountain exterior. Elena led Zix through winding corridors, passing laboratories filled with equipment even she didn't fully understand. The eccentric billionaire who funded her work had spared no expense in creating this off-the-grid scientific haven. "We should be safe here," At least for now, Elena said, her voice echoing slightly in the vast space. The facility's shielding should keep us hidden from any government scans. Zix's eyelight pulsed with curiosity as they took in their surroundings. This place, it reminds me of the research outposts on the moons of Tylox 7. Your species' scientific advancements are truly impressive, Elena. Elena couldn't help but smile at the compliment, even as her mind raced with their precarious situation. Thanks, but I have a feeling we're still centuries behind your technology. Speaking of which, she paused, turning to face her alien companion. Zix, I think it's time you told me the whole truth. Why are you really here? What's the true purpose of your mission? Zix was quiet for a long moment, their iridescent scales shifting in patterns that Elena had come to recognize as deep thought. Finally, they spoke, their melodic voice tinged with what might have been regret. You are correct, Elena. There is more to my presence on Earth than I initially revealed. Zix's eyelight dimmed slightly. My people, the Zrokian, have been observing your planet for centuries. We've watched your species evolve, develop technology, and begin to reach for the stars. But recently, we've detected something troubling. Elena felt a chill run down her spine. Troubling how? Your world stands on the brink of a great leap forward, Zix explained. Your scientists are close to cracking the secrets of faster-than-light travel. But with that advancement comes great risk. There are forces in the galaxy that would see humanity as a threat, or worse, as a resource to be exploited. Elena's mind reeled at the implications. So you're here to, what? Warn us? Protect us? Zix's eyelight pulsed rapidly. In a way, yes. But more than that, I was sent to assess humanity's readiness for joining the greater galactic community, to determine if your species could be trusted with the knowledge and power that comes with interstellar travel. And? Elena asked, her heart pounding. What's your assessment? Zix reached out, gently taking Elena's hand in their alien appendage. The gesture was so human, so tender, that Elena felt her breath catch. Before I met you, Elena, I would have reported that humanity was not ready, that your species was too volatile, too prone to conflict and self-destruction. Zix's eyelight softened. But you have shown me another side of humanity. Your compassion, your curiosity, your capacity for love, even in the face of the utterly alien, these are rare and precious traits in the cosmos. Elena felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes. So what happens now? Before Zix could answer, a thunderous boom shook the entire facility. Alarm klaxons began to wail as the voice of the base's AI filled the air. Warning. Perimeter breach detected. Unknown forces have penetrated the outer defenses, initiating lockdown protocols. Elena's heart raced. How did they find us so quickly? Zix's eyelight pulsed with urgency. Elena, there's something else you need to know. My ship, the one that crashed, it wasn't just a simple scout vessel. It contains technology that could advance your species by centuries, or destroy you if misused. Understanding dawned on Elena. And that's what they're after. The government, they must have detected the energy signature. Zix nodded grimly. If they gain access to that technology before humanity is ready, the consequences could be catastrophic. Another explosion rocked the base, closer this time. They could hear the sound of boots on metal as armed forces stormed through the facility. Elena's scientific mind whirred into overdrive. The quantum entanglement chamber, she gasped. Zix, I have an idea, but it's risky. We might be able to use it to broadcast a message to your people, maybe even open a portal, but it could also tear a hole in the fabric of space-time. Zix's eyelight pulsed with what Elena now recognized as determination. The risk is worth taking. Lead the way. They raced through the twisting corridors of Olympus Base, the sounds of pursuit growing ever closer. Elena's fingers flew over keypads, unlocking secure doors as they delved deeper into the heart of the facility. Finally, they reached a massive circular chamber, dominated by a pulsing orb of pure energy suspended in a complicated array of machinery. The quantum entanglement chamber, theoretical technology made real through billions in secret funding. Okay, Elena panted, rushing to the control panel. I'm going to try to attune the quantum field to the unique frequency of your biology. If it works, we should be able to establish a direct link to your homeworld. As Elena worked feverishly, Zix stood guard at the entrance. The sounds of combat grew closer. It seemed some of the base's automated defenses were putting up a fight against the invaders. Elena, Zix called, but a voice urgent. Whatever you're going to do it quickly. They're almost here. Elena's fingers danced across the controls, pushing the experimental technology to its limits. The orb of energy in the center of the room began to pulse more rapidly, tendrils of light arcing out to touch the surrounding machinery. Just as the door to the chamber began to spark and glow red from cutting torches on the other side, the quantum field erupted into a swirling vortex of light and energy. It worked, Elena cried, almost disbelieving. Zix rushed to her side, that eye-light pulsing with a mix of awe and relief. Incredible. You've opened a direct portal to the Zrokian High Council chamber. Through the swirling portal, Elena could make out alien figures gathered around what looked like a vast organic control center. The Zrokians were even more breathtaking en masse, their iridescent bodies pulsing with bioluminescence. Zix stepped forward, addressing their people in a series of musical trills and clicks that the universal translator struggled to keep up with. Elena caught fragments about humanity's potential, the threat of misused technology, and something about her. The door to the chamber burst open, and armed soldiers poured in, led by a stern-faced man Elena recognized as Director Hawthorne. Step away from the alien and that portal, Dr. Rees, Hawthorne barked. You have no idea what you're dealing with. Elena stood her ground, placing herself between the soldiers and Zix. No, Director, you're the one who doesn't understand. This isn't about weapons or power. It's about humanity's place in the galaxy. Zix placed a gentle hand on Elena's shoulder, stepping forward to address Hawthorne directly. Your species stands at a crossroads, they said, their voice resonating with authority. The choice you make here today will determine humanity's fate among the stars. Hawthorne hesitated, his weapon lowering slightly as the gravity of the situation sank in. Suddenly, a melodious voice echoed from the portal, the translator rendering it in crisp English. We have heard the testimony of Zix 427 and observed these events. Humanity has shown both great potential and great danger. We offer you a choice. The soldiers murmured among themselves, clearly awestruck by the alien presence. Hawthorne looked to Elena, then to Zix, indecision written across his face. Director Hawthorne, Elena said softly, we have a chance here to forge a peaceful first contact, to join a galactic community beyond our wildest dreams. But we have to prove we can be trusted. We have to show them the best of humanity. Hawthorne was quiet for a long moment, the weight of the entire human race's future resting on his shoulders. Finally, he lowered his weapon completely. All right, Dr. Rees, you've got the floor. Show us how to do this right. Elena turned to the portal, her heart pounding. This was the moment everything in her life had been leading up to, her chance to be the bridge between humanity and the stars. People of Earth and honored members of the Zrokian Council, she began, her voice steady despite her nerves. Today, we stand on the brink of a new era of cosmic cooperation. There is so much we can learn from each other, so much we can achieve together. I propose an exchange, not of weapons or power, but of knowledge, culture, and understanding. As Elena continued to speak, outlining her vision for peaceful cooperation and mutual growth, she felt Zix's hand slip into hers. In that moment, their two forms, one human, one alien, stood as a living symbol of the connection between worlds. The Zrokian Council listened intently, their ethereal forms shimmering with what might have been approval. Director Hawthorne and his soldiers lowered their weapons, caught up in the historic gravity of the moment. As the fate of two species hung in the balance, Elena squeezed Zix's hand, drawing strength from their unlikely bond. Whatever the council decided, whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, a cosmic union that represented the very best of what both their kinds could be. The chamber fell silent as the Zrokian Council deliberated. The future of interstellar relations, the path of human advancement, and the personal fates of Elena and Zix all hinged on the next few moments. As they waited for the verdict, one thing was clear: nothing in the universe would ever be the same again.